The destruction of the Imperial shipyard changed everything. The Empire had seemed unstoppable, but now the galaxy saw them bleed. More species joined the rebellion. More systems declared independence, but the Empire was not finished. Minji stood in the command center of the rebel base, hidden deep in an asteroid belt. The holographic map showed red spreading across the galaxy. The Empire was gathering its forces for one massive attack. Lysara appeared beside her, the crystalline being's body glowing softly. I have received intelligence from my contacts inside the Empire. They are building something at Nexus Prime, their capital station. Another dreadnought? Worse, they call it the Nullifier. It is a weapon that can destroy entire solar systems. Minji felt cold fear grip her heart.
Can they really do that?
Yes, and they plan to test it on a human colony world. The meeting room filled quickly. All the rebel leaders gathered. Grix, Hana, Junho, Doyen, Subin, and representatives from a dozen other species. We must strike at Nexus Prime, Grix said immediately. Destroy this nullifier before they can use it. That is suicide, one of the other commanders protested. Nexus Prime is the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. There are thousands of ships protecting it. Then we will die fighting, Grix replied. Better that than watching our worlds burn. Minji raised her hand for silence. We have fought smart so far. We have used surprise and speed against a stronger enemy. We can do it again. How? Hana asked. They will see us coming from light years away. Junho stood up. I have an idea. It is crazy and it might not work, but it is our only chance. Everyone listened as Junho explained his plan. It was indeed crazy. It involved using the quantum drive in ways it was never designed for. It required perfect timing, and it would probably destroy the Defiance in the process. But it might work. 1 week later, the rebel fleet assembled. It was the largest gathering of free ships in history. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of species all ready to fight. On the Defiance, the crew prepared for what might be their last mission. Subin moved through the ship talking to everyone. Many crew members had written messages to their families just in case. She found Doyen in the pilot seat, running system checks for the 100th time. How are you doing? She asked. He looked up and smiled weakly. I keep thinking about home. I have not seen Earth in 3 years. We are fighting so that Earth stays safe, I know. But still, I wish I could see it one more time. Subin squeezed his shoulder. You will. We all will. In the engineering bay, Junho and Lysara worked together on the quantum drive modifications. They had become close friends over the months, bonding over their shared love of science. This will work, right? Junho asked. In theory, yes. In practice, there are about 1 million things that could go wrong. That is encouraging. Lysara's body glowed brighter, which Junho had learned meant she was amused. We have come this far. What is one more impossible task? Minji stood on the bridge looking at the view screen. The rebel fleet stretched out before her, ready to jump. She opened a channel to all ships. This is Captain Kim. In a few moments, we will jump to Nexus Prime. The Empire thinks they have already won. They think their superweapon makes them invincible. We are going to prove them wrong. Not because we are stronger, but because we refuse to give up. For our homes. For our freedom. Let us finish this. The rebel fleet jumped. They appeared at the edge of the Nexus Prime system. The Imperial capital hung in space, a massive station orbiting a neutron star. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, and it was surrounded by thousands of Imperial warships. On his flagship, Velcross smiled when he saw the rebel fleet appear. Finally, they had come to him. He would crush them here and end this rebellion. All ships attack, he commanded. The Imperial fleet moved forward like a wall of metal and energy. The rebels charged to meet them. The battle was massive, hundreds of ships fighting. Weapons firing in all directions, explosions lighting up the darkness. It was chaos, exactly as planned. While the fleets clashed, the Defiance used its stealth systems to slip away from the battle. Doyen piloted the ship carefully, avoiding the fighting. We are approaching the station, he reported. The nullifier was visible now, a massive weapon mounted on the station. It looked like a giant metal flower, petals of death aimed at the stars. Junho, are you ready? Minji asked. Ready. Initiating quantum overload. The Defiance's engines began to glow brighter and brighter. The ship was creating a massive disruption in space itself. On Nexus Prime, alarms started blaring. The station's sensors detected the quantum disturbance. Commander, a ship is approaching the station. It is the Defiance. Velcross turned from watching the battle. Impossible. They should be fighting with the others. They are creating some kind of quantum field. It is interfering with all our systems. Stop them. But it was too late. The quantum field was expanding, washing over Nexus Prime. All the station systems began to fail. Weapons powered down. Shields flickered and died. Even life support stuttered. The nullifier went dark. Grick saw what was happening and opened a channel to the rebel fleet. The station is defenseless. All ships strike now. The rebel ships broke off from fighting the Imperial fleet and rushed toward Nexus Prime. They fired everything they had at the nullifier. On the Defiance, warning lights flashed everywhere. The quantum overload was tearing the ship apart from the inside. We need to shut it down, Hana shouted over the alarms. Not yet, Junho replied, his hands moving frantically over the controls. Just a few more seconds, the ship shook violently. Panels exploded. Fires broke out in multiple sections. Now, Junho, Minji ordered. Junho hit the shutdown sequence. The quantum field collapsed. At the same moment, the rebel missiles hit the nullifier. The weapon exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Velcross watched in horror as his superweapon was destroyed. Then he saw the Defiance, damaged but still flying, turning toward the Imperial flagship. He knew, in that moment, that he had lost. The humans had won. His ship was hit by rebel fire. The bridge exploded. Velcross died, still refusing to believe that primitive humans could defeat the mighty Empire. With the nullifier destroyed and Velcross dead, the Imperial fleet fell into confusion. Some ships retreated, others surrendered. The battle was over. On the Defiance, the crew collapsed with exhaustion and relief. They had done it. Against all odds, they had won. But Minji knew the real work was just beginning. 2 months had passed. The Defiance was no longer alone. Minji stood in the meeting room looking at the holographic display. It showed a map of the galaxy with dozens of red dots marking Imperial positions and green dots marking rebel forces. The green dots were spreading. Lysara had been true to her word. The crystalline being had provided valuable information about Imperial weaknesses. More importantly, she had contacted other species who hated the Empire. Word had spread that humans were fighting back and others wanted to join them. A large figure entered the room. It was Grix, a Morphon warrior who commanded a fleet of mercenary ships. His body could change shape, and right now he looked almost human except for his gray skin and the fact that he had 4 arms. Captain Kim, Grix said in his deep voice. My scouts have confirmed it. The Empire is building a new weapon at the Nexus shipyard. What kind of weapon? Minji asked. A dreadnought. Bigger than anything we have seen before. If they finish building it, they will use it to destroy human colonies. Hana Choi, who had become more accepting of their alien allies, studied the map. The Nexus shipyard is heavily defended. We would need every ship we have to attack it. Then that is what we will do, Minji said. Everyone turned to look at her. Even Grix seemed surprised. Captain, that is suicide, Hana protested. The Empire has 300 ships protecting that shipyard, and we have 50 ships now, Minji replied. We cannot fight them directly, but we can be clever. Junho entered the room carrying a data pad. I have been working on something with Lysara. We think we can create a quantum disruption bomb. What does it do? Grix asked. It disrupts the bonds that hold matter together. In simple terms, it makes ships fall apart. But it only works in a small area, and we need to place it very close to the target. How close? Minji asked inside the shipyard itself. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Someone would have to fly into the most heavily defended Imperial facility and plant a bomb. I will do it, Doyen said from the doorway. He had been listening. I can fly through their defenses. No, Minji said firmly. We all go together. The Defiance got us into this war. The Defiance will finish it. The plan was simple but dangerous. The rebel fleet would attack the Imperial forces from multiple directions, splitting their attention. While the Empire was distracted, the Defiance would use its stealth systems to sneak into the shipyard, plant the bomb and escape. Simple, but not easy. 3 days later, the rebel fleet gathered at the edge of the system. Minji could see all the ships on her display. Human vessels, Morphon cruisers, Lumineth scouts, and ships from a dozen other species. They were united by one thing, the desire to be free from the Empire. Dr. Subin Kang moved through the Defiance, checking on the crew. She had become the heart of the ship, the one who kept everyone calm when fear threatened to overwhelm them. She stopped by each station offering encouragement. "How are you feeling?" she asked Doyen. He smiled, but his hands were shaking slightly. "Nervous. This is the biggest thing we have ever tried. You are the best pilot we have. If anyone can do this, it is you. All ships. This is Captain Kim." Minji's voice came through the communication system. "Today we strike at the heart of the Empire. They think we are weak. They think we will give up. But we will show them what it means to fight for freedom. Good luck to everyone." The rebel fleet jumped into the system. Immediately, alarms blared on every Imperial ship. The Empire had not expected such a large force. Velcross watched from his flagship. He had been hunting the Defiance for months, always one step behind. Now they had come to him. "All ships engage the enemy," he commanded. "Destroy them all." The space battle began. Plasma beams and missiles filled the darkness. Ships exploded on both sides. The rebels fought with desperate courage, knowing this was their only chance. While the battle raged, the Defiance slipped through the chaos. Its stealth plating made it invisible to Imperial sensors. Doyen guided the ship through the fighting, avoiding stray weapons fire and debris. "We are approaching the shipyard," he reported. The Nexus shipyard was enormous, a structure of metal and energy that stretched for kilometers. Inside, the unfinished dreadnought waited like a sleeping monster. "There are patrol ships near the entrance," Hana warned. "I see them," Doyen replied. "Hold on." The Defiance moved like a ghost, sliding between the patrol ships without being detected. They entered the shipyard through a maintenance port. Inside, the dreadnought towered above them. It was massive, 10 times the size of any ship Minji had ever seen. Its weapons systems were not yet installed, but its hull was complete. "Junho, is the bomb ready?" Minji asked. "Ready? I just need to activate it and set the timer. Do it. We have 5 minutes to get out of here." Junho worked quickly, his fingers moving over the controls. The quantum disruption bomb was small but incredibly powerful. He placed it against the dreadnought's hull and activated it. Done. "Timer is set. Get us out of here, Doyen," Minji ordered. The Defiance turned and headed for the exit. But then alarms sounded. Red lights flashed inside the shipyard. "They have detected us," Hana announced. "Blast doors are closing." Doyen pushed the engines to maximum power. The Defiance shot forward, racing toward the closing doors. They were 50 meters away, then 40, then 30. "We are not going to make it," Hana said. "Yes, we are," Doyen replied through gritted teeth. The Defiance squeezed through the gap just as the doors slammed shut. Metal scraped against metal and sparks flew, but they were through. 2 minutes until detonation, Junho announced. Imperial fighters poured out of their launch bays, chasing the Defiance. Plasma fire filled the space around them. "Return fire," Minji ordered. "Give them everything we have." The Defiance's railguns fired continuously. Imperial fighters exploded, but more kept coming. 1 minute. The rebel fleet saw the Defiance emerging from the shipyard, pursued by Imperial fighters. Grix's voice came through the communication system. "All ships protect the Defiance." Rebel ships moved to intercept the Imperial fighters. The battle intensified. 30 seconds. "Prepare to jump," Minji ordered. "As soon as the bomb goes off, we leave." 10 seconds. The quantum disruption bomb detonated. There was no visible explosion, no flash of light. Instead, a wave of invisible energy spread through the shipyard. The dreadnought, the structure, everything simply fell apart at the molecular level. It was like watching a sandcastle dissolve in water. "Jump," Minji commanded. The Defiance and the rebel fleet vanished, leaving the Empire to stare at the ruins of their greatest weapon. Velcross stood on his bridge, watching the shipyard crumble. His hands clenched into fists. The humans had done the impossible again, but this was not over. Not by a long way. The stars were quiet in the outer rim of the galaxy. 5 Imperial warships floated in the darkness, their powerful engines humming softly. These ships belonged to the great Galactic Empire, the rulers of thousands of worlds. For 3,000 years, no one had dared to challenge them. Commander Velcross stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was tall, with scales that shimmered green and gold. His yellow eyes watched the screens showing the area around them. They were near human space, a small corner of the galaxy that the Empire had discovered only 30 years ago. Humans were weak, Velcross thought. They had no real weapons. Their ships were slow and clumsy. The Empire had let them live because they were not worth the trouble of destroying. They were like insects, annoying but harmless. A young officer approached Velcross. His name was Tharn and his scales were still bright with youth. He looked nervous. "We have detected something, Commander," Tharn said. "An unknown ship just appeared from nowhere." Velcross turned slowly. "What kind of ship?" "We do not know. It does not match any design in our database. It is small, maybe half the size of our scouts." Velcross laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across the bridge. "Probably a human cargo ship. Send them a warning. Tell them to leave this area immediately." The message was sent. The crew waited for a response. The strange ship said nothing. It just hung there in space, dark and silent. "Commander, they are not responding," Tharn reported. "Then destroy it," Velcross ordered. "Show these humans what happens when they ignore the Empire." Two of the escort ships moved forward, their weapons charging. Bright blue energy gathered at the tips of their plasma cannons. They were about to fire when the unknown ship vanished. It simply disappeared. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. No explosion, no debris, just empty space. "Where did it go?" Velcross demanded. The crew scrambled to check their sensors. Before anyone could answer, 3 bright explosions lit up the darkness. 3 of the escort ships burst apart like toys. Fire and metal scattered into space. "Impossible," Velcross shouted. "Our shields were active. Nothing can penetrate our shields." The unknown ship appeared again, this time behind the flagship. It was close, dangerously close. Velcross could see it clearly now. The ship was black with sharp angles and smooth surfaces. It looked like a knife cutting through space. Then a voice came through the communication system. It spoke in perfect galactic standard, the language of the Empire. "This is the ESS Defiance. Leave human space immediately or be destroyed." The bridge fell silent. Every crew member stared at the screens in shock. A human ship? Impossible. Velcross felt anger burn in his chest. This was an insult. A challenge. No one threatened the Empire. All ships attacked that vessel. "Destroy it now!" The remaining escort ship and the flagship opened fire. Plasma beams and missiles shot toward the Defiance. But the black ship moved like water, flowing between the attacks. Not a single shot hit it. Then the Defiance fired back. Small objects shot from its hull, too fast to see clearly. They struck the escort ship and the flagship. The escort ship exploded immediately. The flagship shuddered as explosions ripped through its lower decks. "Damage report," Velcross screamed. "Multiple hull breaches." Tharn shouted back. "Power failing in sections 3 through 7. We have lost weapons control." The Defiance circled around them like a predator. Then it vanished again, disappearing into the darkness. The Imperial flagship was alone, damaged and helpless. Velcross stood frozen. His perfect record, his pride, all shattered in minutes. By humans. Weak, primitive humans. "Get us out of here," he ordered quietly. The flagship limped away, leaving the wreckage of 4 ships floating in space. Inside the Defiance, Captain Minji Kim stood on the bridge. She was young for a captain, only 30 years old. Her dark hair was tied back and her eyes were sharp and focused. "All systems check," Lieutenant Lee reported from the helm. "No damage." Doyen Lee was a skilled pilot, maybe the best humanity had. He could fly the Defiance through spaces that seemed impossible. His hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. "Good work, everyone," Minji said. "That was close." Commander Hana Choi stood beside her, arms crossed. She was older, more experienced, and she did not look happy. "We should have destroyed their flagship," Hana said. "Now they will send more ships. That was the point," Minji replied. "We wanted them to send a message back to their leaders. We wanted them to know we are not weak." Dr. Junho Park entered the bridge from the engineering section. He looked tired but excited. Junho was the genius who had built most of the Defiance's special systems. Without him, this ship would not exist. "The quantum drive worked perfectly," he announced. "We jumped in and out of normal space without any problems. The stealth plating absorbed their sensor scans just like I predicted." "What about our weapons?" Minji asked. The railguns performed beautifully. Solid metal projectiles moving at incredible speed. Their energy shields cannot stop pure kinetic force. It is basic physics, but the Empire never thought anyone would use such simple weapons. Dr. Subin Kang, the ship's medical officer, watched from her station. She had treated many wounded soldiers before, but this was different. This was the start of something bigger, something that scared her. "Captain, what happens now?" Subin asked. Minji looked at the view screen where stars filled the darkness. Now the real war begins. On the Imperial homeworld, High Arbiter Velcross stood before the War Council. These were the most powerful beings in the Empire, generals, admirals, and ancient leaders who had conquered hundreds of worlds. "You allowed a human ship to defeat you?" one of the council members hissed. "Not defeat," Velcross said, trying to keep his voice steady. "A surprise attack. They used technology we have never seen before." Another council member spoke, her voice cold. "Humans are primitives. They have been in space for less than a century. How can they have technology superior to ours?" "I do not know," Velcross admitted, "but I know they are dangerous." The head of the council, an ancient being called the Supreme, leaned forward. His eyes glowed red in the dim light. "Then you will return to human space with a full battle group. You will find this defiance, and you will destroy it. Show the humans what happens when they challenge the Empire." Velcross bowed. It will be done, but inside, doubt gnawed at him. He had seen the defiance move. He had seen it fight, and for the first time in his long life, Velcross felt something he had never felt before: fear. 3 weeks had passed since the first battle. The Defiance hid in an asteroid field, far from any Imperial patrol routes. Inside the ship, the crew worked constantly to keep everything running. Captain Minji Kim walked through the corridors. She could hear the sounds of repair work everywhere. Metal being welded, systems being tested, people talking in low voices. The ship had not been damaged in the battle, but maintaining such advanced technology was hard work. She found Dr. Junho Park in the engineering bay. He was surrounded by holographic displays showing complex equations and diagrams. His hair was messy and he looked like he had not slept in days. "We need to talk about supplies," Minji said. Junho looked up, blinking. "Supplies. The quantum drive needs special fuel. The railguns need ammunition. We cannot fight the entire Empire with what we have." Junho rubbed his eyes. "I know, but where can we get more? Earth is too far away, and the Empire controls all the supply routes. There is an Imperial supply depot 3 systems away," Minji said. "Small, poorly defended. We could raid it." Junho looked worried. "That is very risky. Everything we do is risky. But if we do nothing, we will run out of fuel in a month." Before Junho could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "All hands to battle stations," Hanachoi's voice came through the speakers. "Imperial ships detected approaching our position." Minji ran to the bridge. "How did they find us?" Hana stood at the tactical station, her face tight with concern. "I do not know, Captain. But there are 12 ships this time. Velcross is leading them personally." On the view screen, the Imperial fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel. The ships were huge, each one 10 times the size of the Defiance. Their weapons were already charging. "They are spreading out, trying to surround us," Doyen reported from the helm. "Can we jump away?" Minji asked. "They have gravity nets active," Junho said, arriving on the bridge. "If we try to use the quantum drive, it will tear the ship apart. Then we fight our way out," Minji decided. "Doyen, take us into the asteroid field. Use the rocks for cover." The Defiance shot forward, weaving between massive asteroids. The Imperial ships followed, firing their plasma cannons. Bright beams of energy lit up the darkness, turning asteroids into clouds of dust and vapor. "Return fire," Minji ordered. The railguns fired, sending metal projectiles at incredible speed. 2 Imperial ships exploded as the projectiles punched through their shields and hulls. But there were still 10 ships left and they kept firing. "We cannot win this fight," Hana said. "There are too many of them." "I know," Minji replied, "but we need to buy time." Suddenly a new voice came through the communication system. It was not Imperial. It was not human either. The voice was strange, like music and light combined. "Human ship, this is Engineer Lysara. I am transmitting data that will help you escape." "Trust me, who is this?" Minji demanded. "I am a friend. The data I am sending shows a weakness in the gravity nets." "Use it, Captain." "I am receiving technical specifications," Junho said, studying his screens. "This information is genuine. It shows how to disrupt their gravity nets. It could be a trap," Hana warned. "Or it could be our only chance," Minji said. "Junho, can you do it?" "Give me 2 minutes." "We do not have 2 minutes," Doyen shouted. "The Imperial flagship is targeting us." "Then make 2 minutes," Minji ordered. "All power to engines." Evasive maneuvers. The Defiance danced through space, moving like it was alive. Doyen's hands flew over the controls, pushing the ship to its limits. Plasma beams missed them by meters. Missiles exploded against asteroids instead of their hull. 1 minute, Junho announced. An explosion rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed across every console. We have been hit, Hana reported. Damage to the port side. Hull integrity at 70%, 30 seconds, Junho said. Another hit. The Defiant shuddered violently. Sparks flew from damaged panels. Hull integrity at 40%, Hana called out. Now, Junho, Minji shouted. Junho pressed a button. A pulse of energy shot from the Defiance, invisible but powerful. The gravity nets flickered and failed. Jump, Minji commanded. The Defiance vanished, leaving the Imperial fleet behind. They appeared thousands of kilometers away, far from danger. The bridge was silent except for the sound of damaged systems beeping. Everyone was breathing hard. Status report, Minji said. We are alive, but barely, Hana replied. Multiple systems damaged. We need repairs. What about that voice? Who was Lysara? Doyen asked. I am receiving another transmission, Junho said. It is the same source. Put it through, Minji ordered. The strange musical voice spoke again. I am glad you survived. I am Engineer Lysara, a member of the Lumineth species. I have left the Empire because I can no longer support their cruelty. Why are you helping us? Minji asked. Because I have seen what the Empire does to worlds that resist them. I have seen entire species destroyed. When I heard about your ship, about humans who dared to fight back, I knew I had to help. We cannot trust her, Hana said quietly to Minji. This could still be a trick. She just saved our lives, Minji pointed out, to gain our trust. So we would lead her to Earth or to other human colonies. Minji considered this. Lysara, where are you now? I am in a small ship, hiding 2 light years from your position. I have Imperial technical data that could help you. Weapon specifications, shield frequencies, patrol routes. And what do you want in return? Safety. The Empire will kill me if they find me. And perhaps a chance to make up for the things I have done. Minji looked at her crew. Hana still looked suspicious. Hunyo seemed curious. Doyen shrugged. Dr. Subin Kang spoke up from her station. Captain, if she is telling the truth, we need that information. And if she is lying, well, we are already at war with the entire Empire. One more enemy will not make much difference. Minji smiled slightly. Good point. She pressed the communication button. Lysara, send us your coordinates. We will meet you. Thank you, Captain Kim. You will not regret this. I hope not, Minji said softly. On the Imperial flagship, Velcross slammed his fist against the command console. The human ship had escaped again. How? He roared. How did they break through our gravity nets? We do not know, Commander, Tharn replied nervously. It should have been impossible. Velcross stared at the empty space where the Defiance had been. Someone had helped them. Someone with knowledge of Imperial technology. A traitor, he whispered. The hunt had just become much more complicated. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Nexus Prime. The Galactic Empire was broken. Some systems celebrated their freedom. Others fell into chaos without the Empire's order. And some Imperial forces refused to accept defeat. Minji stood in the council chamber on the space station that had become the center of the new government. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat in a great circle, arguing about the future. She was no longer just a ship captain. She had become a symbol, the human who had faced the Empire and won. But being a symbol was harder than being a warrior. We must punish the Imperial leaders who remain, one representative shouted. They destroyed worlds. They enslaved species. Justice demands it, another voice argued back. If we execute them all, their supporters will never stop fighting. We need mercy, not revenge, the argument went on and on. Minji had heard the same debate many times. She was tired. Not just physically tired, but soul-deep exhausted. Hana found her later, standing by a window overlooking the stars. You look like you need sleep, Hana said. I need this to be over, Minji replied. I know how to fight a war, but building a peace? I am not sure I know how to do that. None of us do. We are all learning. Before Minji could respond, alarm sounded. Red lights flashed through the station. What now? Minji ran toward the command center. Grix was already there, studying the tactical displays. A large Imperial fleet just appeared at the edge of the system. About 200 ships, loyalists. Yes, they are demanding the Council surrender or they will attack. Minji looked at the display. 200 ships. The Council station had defenses, but not enough to stop that many. and most of the rebel fleet was scattered across the galaxy, helping to maintain order. How long until our ships can get here? 4 hours at best, and they will attack in 30 minutes. Minji closed her eyes for a moment. She was so tired of fighting. But if they did not fight now, everything they had won would be lost. Where is the Defiance? In the repair dock. Junho has been rebuilding the quantum drive. Is it ready to fly? Grix looked uncertain. Technically, yes. But Junho said it is not safe yet. Nothing we do is safe. Get the crew together. 20 minutes later, the Defiance launched from the repair dock. Doyen sat at the helm, Hana at tactical, Junho in engineering, and Subin at her medical station. Lizara had joined them as well, her crystalline body glowing softly. It is just us against 200 ships? Doyen asked. We have faced worse odds, Minji replied, though she was not sure if that was true. The Defiance moved toward the Imperial fleet. The enemy ships were arranged in perfect formation, ready to attack. Minji opened a communication channel. Imperial Fleet, this is Captain Minji Kim of the ESS Defiance. You have lost this war. Your leaders are gone. Your empire is finished. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. A voice responded, harsh and angry. You are the one who should surrender, human. You destroyed the empire that brought order to the galaxy. Now there is only chaos. We will restore what you have broken. The empire brought slavery and death. We are building something better. You are building weakness. The strong must rule the weak. That is the natural order. Minji felt sad more than angry. These people could not imagine a galaxy where strength was measured by something other than weapons. Then we have nothing more to say. But know this, I will give you one more chance to leave. After that, I will stop you. 1 ship against 200. You are insane, maybe. But I am also determined. The Imperial fleet opened fire. Plasma beams and missiles shot toward the Defiance. Doyen's hands moved across the controls and the ship dodged and weaved through the attack. I have an idea, Junho said suddenly. It is crazy. All your ideas are crazy, Hana replied. What is it? We use the quantum drive to disable Nexus Prime. What if we do the same thing here but smaller? Just enough to shut down their weapons, not their life support. Can you control it that precisely? Probably not. But with Lysara's help, maybe. The crystalline being glowed brighter. I can help tune the frequency. It will not be perfect, but we can try. Do it, Minji ordered. The Defiance stopped dodging and began charging its quantum drive. The Imperial fleet, thinking the ship was disabled, moved closer to finish it off. They are surrounding us, Hana warned. Good. The closer they are, the better this will work. The quantum drive glowed brighter and brighter. Then Junho and Lysara released the energy in a carefully controlled pulse. The wave washed over the Imperial fleet. Every ship went dark, weapons shut down, engines stopped. Even the lights went out. But the life support systems continued working. The Imperial ships floated helplessly in space. Minji opened the communication channel again. Your ships are disabled but intact. Your crews are safe. This is your last chance. Surrender, or when your systems come back online, we will destroy you. There was a long silence. Then the Imperial commander spoke, his voice defeated. We surrender. The bridge of the Defiance erupted in cheers. They had won without killing anyone. 3 years later, Minji walked through a garden on a small colony world. She had retired from military service. The galaxy was at peace, or as close to peace as it could be. The new Galactic Council governed fairly, with representatives from all species. Humanity had earned its place as an equal member. The Defiance had been retired and turned into a museum, a reminder of what determination could achieve. Minji received regular messages from her old crew. Doyen commanded his own ship in the Galactic Defense Fleet. Hana served as a senior military advisor. Junho taught engineering at the new Interstellar Academy. Subin ran medical exchange programs across the galaxy. Lysara worked on peaceful technology development. Grix led the multi-species peacekeeping force. They had all moved on with their lives. The war was over. But sometimes late at night, Minji would look up at the stars and remember. She remembered the fear of those first battles. The weight of all those lives depending on her decisions. The friends lost along the way. And she remembered the day an unknown ship had appeared in Imperial space and changed the galaxy forever. Humanity had proven something important. Not that they were the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced. They had proven that anyone, no matter how small or weak they seemed, could stand up against injustice. That courage mattered more than weapons. That hope could defeat fear, and that sometimes, the smallest spark could light up the entire galaxy. A young girl approached Minji in the garden. She looked about 10 years old with curious eyes. "Are you really Captain Kim, the one from the stories?" Minji smiled. "I used to be a captain, yes. Did you really fight the whole empire by yourself?" "Not by myself. I had the best crew anyone could ask for, and friends from many different worlds. That is the real secret. We were strong because we stood together." The girl thought about this. "I want to be like you when I grow up. Then be brave. Be kind, stand up for what is right. And remember that being strong does not mean being alone." The girl nodded seriously and ran off to join her friends. Minji watched her go and felt something she had not felt in a long time. Not pride or satisfaction or relief, just simple happiness. The galaxy was not perfect. There were still problems to solve, conflicts to resolve, work to be done, but it was better than it had been, and it would keep getting better, because humans had shown the way, not through conquest but through courage, not through power but through perseverance, not by standing above others but by standing with them. The unknown ship that had once terrified the Empire was now a legend, a reminder that even the mightiest can fall, and that even the smallest can rise. Minji looked up at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there among those countless lights was Earth, home. And for the first time in years she knew that Earth was safe, that all the worlds were safe, because humanity had not just survived. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to be truly strong, and that was worth every sacrifice.